Feeling overwhelmed? Stressed about things beyond your control? What if I told you that stress isn't the enemy, but your mindset towards it is? Imagine if you could master your emotions, navigate challenges effortlessly, and find peace no matter what life throws at you. Would you take that power? If so, stay with me because today we're diving into 8 simple but powerful mind tricks inspired by Stoic philosophy that will instantly reduce stress. But before we begin, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more content like this to you. Now, let's get started. 1. Focus only on what you can control. In today's world, it is easy to become overwhelmed by the endless stream of challenges and uncertainties we face daily. From global events like economic downturns and political turmoil to personal concerns such as relationships, job stress, and health problems, it often feels like we are at the mercy of forces beyond our control. The question then arises, how do we maintain our mental and emotional well-being when so much seems out of our hands? The key lies in shifting our focus to what we can control. It's easy to fall into the trap of stressing over things like the weather, the opinions of others, or the actions of people around us. These are all external factors that, no matter how much energy we invest, we cannot influence. The problem with fixating on these uncontrollable aspects is that it leads to frustration and anxiety, leaving us feeling helpless and powerless. However, we have far more control than we often realize, especially over our own actions, reactions, and mindset. By taking ownership of what is within our reach, we can regain a sense of empowerment and, as a result, alleviate much of the stress that arises from uncertainty. At its core, focusing on what we can control is about recognizing that we have a choice in how we respond to life's challenges. For example, if you're facing a tough situation at work, you might not be able to control how your boss or colleagues behave, but you can control how you react. You can choose to stay calm, approach the problem with a solution-oriented mindset, and communicate effectively. In doing so, you're actively shaping your experience rather than passively reacting to what happens to you. This approach can be applied to virtually every aspect of life. In relationships, while you cannot control how others treat you, you can control how you engage with them. Practicing kindness, empathy, and understanding is within your power. When you take responsibility for your own actions, you stop waiting for others to change, and instead, you become the catalyst for a healthier and more fulfilling relationship. Likewise, when it comes to our health, we can't always control the circumstances that affect us, such as genetic predispositions or unforeseen accidents. But we do have control over our habits, routines, and attitudes. We can choose to eat nutritious foods, get regular exercise, and prioritize self-care. These actions not only improve our physical health, but also have a significant impact on our mental well-being. One of the most profound benefits of focusing on what we can control is the reduction in stress and anxiety. When we stop trying to manage every detail of life, we free ourselves from the constant tension of trying to predict or manipulate outcomes. Instead of exhausting ourselves with the impossible task of controlling the uncontrollable, we shift our energy to areas where our efforts actually matter. Another powerful aspect of this shift is that it fosters a growth mindset. When you focus on what you can control, you're more likely to see challenges as opportunities for growth and learning. Each setback becomes a chance to improve your resilience and adaptability, rather than a defeat. This mindset transforms adversity into a valuable lesson, allowing you to move forward with greater strength and confidence. In conclusion, focusing on what you can control is a simple yet powerful way to regain your sense of agency in an unpredictable world. By letting go of the need to control everything around you, you create space for personal growth, peace of mind, and emotional resilience. Remember, you can't control the weather, the economy, or other people's actions, but you can control how you respond to them, and that is where your true power lies. 2. Practice negative visualization. At first glance, the concept of negative visualization might seem paradoxical. Why would anyone want to spend time thinking about worst-case scenarios? It seems counterproductive to focus on potential problems when the goal is to stay positive and hopeful. However, negative visualization is actually a powerful mental exercise that can help reduce anxiety, enhance resilience, and increase appreciation for the present moment. Negative visualization is a practice derived from Stoic philosophy, which encourages individuals to imagine the worst possible outcomes and then mentally prepare themselves for those challenges. While it may seem strange to imagine things going wrong, this technique is incredibly effective for building mental fortitude and reducing fear of the unknown. One of the key reasons why negative visualization works is that it shifts our mindset from one of fear and avoidance to one of acceptance and preparedness. When we imagine the worst-case scenario, we stop fearing it because we've already mentally prepared ourselves for it. Instead of feeling paralyzed by uncertainty, we gain a sense of control by visualizing how we would handle difficulties. For example, let's say you're about to give an important presentation at work. Instead of focusing solely on the hope that everything will go smoothly, practice negative visualization by imagining what could go wrong. Maybe the technology fails, or you forget your main points. By visualizing these outcomes, you mentally rehearse how you would respond. You might remind yourself that you can recover from mistakes, ask for a moment to regroup, or even continue without the slides if necessary. By mentally running through these scenarios, you strip away their power to paralyze you with fear. Negative visualization also helps us detach from unrealistic expectations and acknowledge the impermanence of life. When we imagine the possibility of losing something we cherish, whether the relationship, a job, or even our health, we are reminded that nothing in life is guaranteed. This realization can be unsettling, but it also helps us cultivate a sense of gratitude for what we have in the present. When we learn to appreciate what is currently in our lives, we become less attached to the outcome and more resilient in the face of challenges. Additionally, negative visualization can provide us with the mental tools to cope with loss or adversity when it inevitably arises. Life is unpredictable, and setbacks are a part of the human experience. By practicing negative visualization, we build mental and emotional resilience, ensuring that we are better equipped to handle life's difficulties when they occur. Another benefit of this practice is that it can help reduce anxiety. Anxiety often arises from the fear of the unknown, the worry about what could happen in the future. By confronting those fears head-on through visualization, we diminish their power. We realize that even in the worst-case scenario, we can survive and adapt. The act of mentally rehearsing setbacks takes away their edge, allowing us to approach life with more calm and clarity. Critically, negative visualization is not about dwelling on negativity or becoming pessimistic. Instead, it is about fostering acceptance and resilience. It's about understanding that challenges and setbacks are inevitable and that, no matter what happens, you will be capable of handling them. In fact, the more we practice negative visualization, the less likely we are to become overwhelmed by adversity when it arrives. We become less attached to specific outcomes and more focused on how we can control our responses to whatever comes our way. While it may feel counterintuitive at first, negative visualization is a powerful tool for building emotional resilience and reducing anxiety. By mentally preparing for worst-case scenarios, we strip away their power to paralyze us with fear and anxiety. Instead of avoiding difficulties, we learn to embrace them as opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Ultimately, negative visualization helps us live more fully in the present moment, appreciating what we have while being prepared for whatever the future may bring. 3. Detach from outcomes. In our fast-paced, achievement-driven world, it's easy to fall into the trap of tying our happiness to the outcomes of our efforts. We often think that success, whether in our careers, relationships, or personal goals, will bring us the fulfillment we desire. However, the reality is that outcomes are rarely in our complete control. No matter how much time and effort we put in, factors beyond our influence, like timing, luck, or external circumstances, can determine the results. This truth can be difficult to accept, but offers a liberating perspective. Happiness should not depend on the results of any situation. Instead, it can come from the process itself. When we become overly focused on outcomes, whether that's achieving promotion, winning an award, or getting the desired response from others, we set ourselves up for stress and disappointment. If we tie our self-worth to success or failure, we risk allowing these external results to define our emotional state. Success becomes a fleeting high that's quickly replaced by the anxiety of wondering if we can replicate it. Failure, on the other hand, can feel like an insurmountable low that damages our confidence and morale. The key to breaking free from this cycle is to shift our focus from outcomes to the effort and intention we invest in our actions. By doing so, we can experience a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction regardless of the result. This doesn't mean abandoning ambition or setting aside goals. Rather, it means embracing the idea that we are in control of our effort, but not the result. The effort we put in is what we can fully influence, and this is where we can find meaning and pride. Learning to enjoy the process itself, rather than obsessing over whether we will succeed or fail, can significantly reduce stress. When we commit to doing our best and taking each step as it comes, we free ourselves from the anxiety of needing everything to turn out perfectly. This can be particularly helpful in high-pressure environments, where performance expectations are often very high. Whether we are facing a challenging project at work, training for a physical competition, or engaging in creative endeavors, focusing on doing our best in each moment allows us to stay present and grounded. Moreover, detaching from outcomes fosters a mindset of resilience. When we approach challenges with the understanding that the outcome is not entirely within our control, we can better handle setbacks, and setbacks become opportunities for growth rather than signs of failure. The effort itself becomes valuable in its own right because it reflects our commitment to the process. Even if the result doesn't meet our expectations, we can still take pride in the fact that we gave our all. Ultimately, embracing the process and detaching from the outcomes also helps us experience more joy and satisfaction in the present. Instead of constantly waiting for the next achievement to validate our worth or bring us happiness, we can find contentment in the simple act of trying. By shifting our focus from what we cannot control to what we can, the effort we invest, we can cultivate a deeper sense of fulfillment and reduce the stress that often accompanies our quest for external success. 4. Breathe with intention. We often underestimate the power of our breath, especially in stressful moments. In times of tension, frustration, or anxiety, our breath can become shallow and rapid, mirroring the chaos we feel inside. However, the simple act of breathing with intention can be one of the most effective tools for calming the body and mind. The key to using breath as a stress relief tool lies in the ability to harness its natural rhythm to restore balance and bring us back to the present moment. When stress hits, it's easy to get swept up in the rush of emotions and thoughts. We might feel overwhelmed by our to-do lists, concerned about what's next, or consumed by what's going wrong. In these moments, it's crucial to remember that we have an immediate and accessible tool to help us regain control: our breath. Deep, intentional breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the body's rest and digest response. This counteracts the fight or flight response triggered by stress and anxiety, helping to lower heart rate, reduce tension, and promote a sense of calm. One simple and powerful breathing technique to practice is the 4-4-4 method. This technique involves inhaling deeply for a count of 4 seconds, holding your breath for 4 seconds, and then exhaling slowly for 4 seconds. As you repeat this process, focus on the rhythm of your breath and the sensation of air filling your lungs and leaving your body. This technique is effective because it creates a steady, calming rhythm for your body to follow. It encourages deeper breathing, which helps to activate the vagus nerve, an essential part of the parasympathetic nervous system, and reduces physical symptoms of stress, like a rapid heartbeat or shallow breathing. Taking time to breathe intentionally also helps us return to the present moment. Stress often arises when we dwell on past events or worry about future possibilities. Our thoughts become entangled in what has already happened or what might happen, and this mental clutter can feel overwhelming. The act of focusing on our breath pulls our attention back to the here and now. With each inhale and exhale, we become more present, more grounded, and more attuned to our body's needs. This mindfulness, facilitated by deep breathing, helps break the cycle of stress by reminding us that the present moment is all we truly have control over. Moreover, intentional breathing has long-term benefits for mental and physical health. Practicing deep breathing regularly can help reduce chronic stress, lower blood pressure, and improve overall emotional regulation. It can also enhance our ability to focus and think clearly, especially in high-pressure situations. Over time, breathing exercises become an automatic way to soothe yourself in moments of stress, making them a powerful tool for daily life. The 4-4-4 breathing technique is just one example of how you can breathe with intention, but there are many other methods to explore, such as diaphragmatic breathing, box breathing, or alternate nostril breathing. The key is to find a technique that works for you and to practice it regularly. In moments of acute stress, you can tap into these tools to quickly calm your nervous system and regain a sense of clarity and control. Breathing with intention is more than just a way to reduce stress in the moment. It's a practice that can help us build emotional resilience over time. By learning to focus on our breath and control our physical responses, we become more capable of handling life's challenges with a sense of calm and clarity. Whether you're preparing for a big presentation, navigating a difficult conversation, or simply try to stay grounded during a busy day, mindful breathing can be a powerful ally in maintaining your emotional well-being. 5. Reframe problems as challenges. Life is filled with obstacles. Whether the challenging task at work, a personal relationship issue, or an unexpected setback, we all face difficulties. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeing these hurdles as insurmountable problems. But what if we could see them in a completely different light? What if every problem was just an opportunity in disguise? This mindset shift is at the core of reframing problems as challenges. The word problem often carries a negative connotation. It implies something that must be fixed or avoided. A challenge, on the other hand, evokes a sense of possibility. It suggests that there's a way through, a path forward that will lead to growth. By reframing obstacles as challenges, you begin to approach them with a different attitude, one that is proactive rather than reactive. Think of a challenge as something that tests your abilities, requiring you to stretch beyond your comfort zone. Instead of feeling defeated or overwhelmed by a setback, you begin to view it as a stepping stone toward personal development. Growth rarely happens in moments of ease. It's the struggles, the hard-fought battles, and the persistence through adversity that foster true growth. When you embrace this mindset, you transform the way you approach life. This shift in perspective can make a profound difference in your life. For example, imagine you're facing a tough project at work. Instead of being discouraged by the difficulties, you ask yourself, what skills can I develop by tackling this challenge? You may identify new strategies for time management, improve your communication skills, or learn how to handle pressure better. In this case, the obstacle becomes an opportunity for growth rather than a roadblock. It's important to remember that challenges are not only about overcoming external circumstances. They also include internal growth. Often, the most significant challenges come from within. These might involve overcoming self-doubt, pushing through fear, or developing resilience. These are the types of challenges that strengthen your character and build emotional endurance. When you embrace challenges with the belief that they contribute to your development, you start to see setbacks not as failures, but as stepping stones to greater success. The stress that typically comes with problems begins to diminish because your focus shifts from worry to action. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And instead begin asking, what can I learn from this? This simple reframe has the power to transform how you experience life's difficulties. Additionally, when you reframe problems as challenges, you naturally cultivate a sense of hope. It becomes easier to see the light at the end of the tunnel, knowing that the struggle is part of the journey. Instead of feeling trapped in your circumstances, you start to see the possibilities that exist within them. Each challenge you face becomes an opportunity to prove to yourself that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. The more you practice reframing problems as challenges, the more resilient you become. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by every new obstacle, you approach each situation with a sense of curiosity and determination. You'll begin to see yourself as someone who can navigate life's difficulties with confidence, knowing that each challenge is simply another opportunity for growth. 6. Observe your emotions. Emotions are often viewed as powerful forces that can take control of our behavior, sometimes leading us to act impulsively or without thought. However, emotions are not inherently negative or uncontrollable. They are simply signals that convey information about our inner world and our interactions with the outer world. The key to managing emotions lies not in suppressing or ignoring them, but in learning to observe them with curiosity and understanding. When we experience an emotion, our first instinct is often to react. We might lash out in anger, withdraw in sadness, or make decisions based on fear. However, if we take a step back and simply observe our emotions, we create space between the feeling and the action. This space allows us to regain control, rather than letting our emotions dictate our responses. The first step in observing your emotions is to become aware of them. This may sound simple, but many people go through life without truly noticing how their emotions influence their thoughts and actions. Often, we are so caught up in the whirlwind of daily activities that we don't take the time to check in with ourselves. Developing emotional awareness requires mindfulness and a commitment to slowing down and paying attention to how we feel. Once you notice an emotion, it's important to pause and ask yourself, why am I feeling this? This question invites reflection and helps you understand the root cause of the emotion. Is it related to something external, such as a stressful situation or a conflict with someone? Or is it tied to an internal belief or fear, like insecurity or self-doubt? Understanding the origin of your emotions gives you the power to address the underlying issue rather than simply reacting to the surface-level feeling. For example, if you feel angry during conversation, instead of immediately responding with frustration, take a moment to observe the emotion. Ask yourself, what is this anger trying to tell me? It could be that the anger is a signal that your boundaries have been violated or that you feel misunderstood. By recognizing the emotion and its underlying cause, you can respond more thoughtfully. Perhaps you'll communicate your feelings calmly and assertively, rather than allowing anger to dictate an unproductive outburst. Another important aspect of observing your emotions is acknowledging that all emotions are valid. It's easy to label emotions like anger, sadness, or fear as negative, but every emotion serves a purpose. Anger can signal a need for change or assertiveness. Sadness can help us process loss, and fear can protect us from danger. Instead of judging or suppressing your emotions, try to accept them as part of the human experience. By doing so, you prevent them from having an undue negative influence on your behavior. As you practice observing your emotions, you may also begin to notice patterns in your emotional responses. You might realize, for example, that you often feel anxious before important meetings or that you tend to shut down when confronted with criticism. This self-awareness gives you the opportunity to address these patterns and make conscious choices about how to respond. Perhaps you'll develop coping strategies for managing anxiety or learn how to reframe criticism in a constructive way. The more you observe your emotions without reacting to them, the more you strengthen your emotional intelligence. You become better equipped to navigate the complexities of your emotional landscape, responding to situations in a way that aligns with your values and goals. This level of emotional self-regulation fosters greater peace of mind, as you no longer feel at the mercy of your feelings. Instead, you are able to respond to them with clarity and purpose, using them as valuable information to guide your decisions. Ultimately, observing your emotions allows you to regain control over your emotional life. By shifting from a reactive to a reflective mindset, you can handle challenges with greater calm and resilience. Emotions are not the enemy. They are powerful allies, offering insight into our needs, desires, and inner conflicts. When we learn to listen to them with compassion and curiosity, we unlock the ability to live more intentionally and with greater emotional balance. 7. Silence the inner critic. We all have that internal voice, the one that criticizes, doubts, and questions our every move. It's often the loudest in times of failure, stress, or uncertainty, yet it can strike when we least expect it, tearing away at our confidence. That inner critic is a voice that feeds on our insecurities, and it can be the single greatest barrier to our happiness and success. It tells us that we're not good enough, that we don't deserve the things we want, or that we will never amount to anything. If we allow it to dominate our thoughts, we risk living a life controlled by fear and self-doubt. But here's the thing. This inner voice is not a reflection of our true selves. It is a learned behavior, a product of past experiences, external expectations, and sometimes even unresolved traumas. It's a voice that can be challenged and silenced. One of the most important things to understand is that the inner critic doesn't serve us. It doesn't help us grow, improve, or feel more confident. It just holds us back, creates mental roadblocks, and often paralyzes us with fear. Yet, it's often so ingrained in our daily lives that we don't even realize how much power we've given it. But once we recognize its presence, we can start taking the necessary steps to overcome it. The first step to silencing the inner critic is awareness. We need to pay attention to the thoughts that are running through our minds. Think of these thoughts as a radio station broadcasting your doubts and fears. The more we tune in, the more likely we are to believe them. However, just like a radio, we can change the channel. Once we notice that we're caught in a loop of negative thinking, we can challenge those thoughts head-on. Awareness is a key to interrupting the cycle of negativity. Once we're aware of the inner critic, the next step is to challenge his assumptions. Often, this voice is rooted in irrational beliefs or outdated narratives. For example, the thought, "I'm not good enough," might stem from an early experience where we were criticized or rejected. The truth, however, is that this belief is not an accurate reflection of who we are today. Just because you failed once doesn't mean you will always fail. It doesn't define your worth or potential. We all make mistakes, and those mistakes are opportunities for growth and learning. By acknowledging that the inner critic's judgments are not based on facts, we begin to disempower it. Replacing self-criticism with self-compassion is another powerful tool for silencing the inner critic. Compassion involves treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a loved one. So, when the inner voice tells you that you're not good enough, you can respond with compassion instead of criticism. You might say, "It's okay to feel this way. Everyone goes through tough times, and I will get through this." This approach shifts the focus from self-punishment to self-acceptance. A crucial part of this process is speaking to yourself as you would to a dear friend. If a friend came to you feeling defeated or unsure, would you tell them to give up and that they're worthless? No, you would reassure them, reminding them of their strengths, resilience, and potential. Why not do the same for yourself? When you catch yourself being self-critical, pause, take a deep breath, and instead of berating yourself, offer words of encouragement and love. This shift in language may feel awkward at first, but over time, it will become second nature. A powerful technique is to reframe your thoughts. When the inner critic whispers, "You'll never succeed," remind yourself of times when you have succeeded, no matter how small the victory. Reframing means focusing on what you've achieved instead of what you failed at. It's about acknowledging that progress is often slow, but it's still progress. Every step forward, no matter how small, is an achievement worth celebrating. Additionally, creating a daily practice of affirmations can significantly help in reshaping the inner dialogue. Affirmations are positive, empowering statements that reinforce your self-worth and capabilities. You might say, "I am worthy of love and success," or "I am capable of overcoming challenges." Repeating these affirmations daily, especially in the morning before starting your day, can help set a positive tone and keep the inner critic at bay. Another technique for silencing the inner critic is journaling. Writing down your thoughts and feelings allows you to process them in a healthy, constructive way. If your inner critic is particularly loud on any given day, take a moment to write down what it's saying and then challenge each of those thoughts. For instance, if it says, "I'm not good enough," write down specific examples of times you've been successful or moments when you've demonstrated resilience. This practice will help you see that the inner critic is not an accurate reflection of your abilities. Surround yourself with positivity. The people you spend time with and the content you consume can influence your mindset. If you're constantly around people who criticize or belittle you, it will be harder to silence your inner critic. Instead, seek out relationships and environments that uplift and encourage you. Whether it's supportive friends, inspiring books, or motivational podcasts, immerse yourself in positive influences that affirm your worth. Silencing the inner critic is a journey that takes time and effort, but with practice, you can quiet that negative voice and replace it with a kinder, more supportive one. You are worthy of love, success, and happiness. Don't let the inner critic convince you otherwise. 8. Live in the present moment. In today's fast-paced, always connected world, it's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of the past and the future. We ruminate over past mistakes, wondering what we could have done differently, or we worry about the future, anxious about what might happen. But in all this thinking about what's behind us or ahead of us, we often overlook the one thing that we can control, the present moment. The present moment is all we truly have. The past is gone and the future is uncertain. Yet, we spend so much of our time thinking about what was or what might be that we forget to fully engage with the now. Stress, anxiety, and overwhelm often live in the past and future. When we dwell on what has already happened or what could happen, we create unnecessary tension and worry. But when we focus on the present, we can find peace, clarity, and calm. Living in the present is about mindfulness, the practice of paying full attention to the current moment without judgment. Mindfulness means observing your thoughts, feelings, and environment with curiosity and openness. It's about being fully present in whatever you're doing, whether it's eating, talking to a friend, or simply sitting in silence. When you are mindful, you're not distracted by the past or future. Instead, you are fully immersed in the moment at hand. One of the easiest ways to cultivate mindfulness is through breathing exercises. When you feel yourself getting anxious or distracted, pause and focus on your breath. Take a deep breath in through your nose, hold it for a few seconds, and then slowly exhale through your mouth. This simple act of conscious breathing can help anchor you back to the present moment, calming your mind and body. With regular practice, deep breathing can become a powerful tool for managing stress and staying centered in the now. Another effective technique is to engage your senses. Take a moment to observe what's around you. What do you hear, see, smell, and touch? By tuning into your senses, you can ground yourself in the present moment. For example, when you're walking outside, notice the feel of the breeze, the sound of birds chirping, or the scent of fresh air. This sensory awareness helps break the cycle of overthinking and pulls you back into the here and now. Living in the present also involves letting go of control. We often stress about the future because we want to control it, to plan every detail and make sure everything turns out just right. But the future is inherently unpredictable, and no amount of planning can guarantee specific outcomes. When we try to control everything, we only increase our stress. Instead, we can practice acceptance, acknowledging that we can't control everything, and that's okay. Life will unfold as it's meant to, and all we can do is show up, do our best, and trust the process. Gratitude is another powerful way to bring yourself back to the present. When you focus on what you have right now, instead of what you don't, you cultivate a sense of abundance. Start by listing 3 things you're grateful for each day. It could be as simple as a warm cup of tea, a conversation with a friend, or a moment of quiet. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's already here, allowing you to appreciate the present moment more fully. Letting go of the past is a key element of living in the present. The past is full of memories, both good and bad. It's easy to get stuck in regret or nostalgia, wishing you could change things. However, the past is beyond your control. It's important to forgive yourself for past mistakes and learn from them rather than allowing them to define your present. By releasing past hurts and letting go of what can't be changed, you free up space to fully experience the present. Living in the present also means embracing imperfection. Life is messy, unpredictable, and often chaotic. Instead of striving for perfection, try to embrace the beauty of imperfection. When things don't go as planned, instead of getting frustrated, accept that life is fluid and things change. The more we let go of rigid expectations, the more we can enjoy the flow of life as it is, rather than as we think it should be. Ultimately, living in the present means choosing to be here, now. It means making a conscious decision to let go of the distractions of the past and future, and instead embrace the beauty of the present moment. When we do this, we find that stress begins to fade, and we experience a sense of peace and contentment. The present is where life happens. It's all we truly have, so make it count. There you have it. 8 simple yet powerful Stoic mind tricks that can transform the way you handle stress. Remember, it's not about avoiding stress, but learning how to navigate it with wisdom and resilience. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment below. What's your favorite way to deal with stress? Until next time, stay strong, stay present, and take control of your mind.